What's up guys, I'm Tristan, and today we've got a new case from Corsair that was announced at Computex a few months ago, and I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting to see another super tower from any company ever again, considering the trend lately has been smaller and more consolidated PC builds. So getting right into it, we're taking a look at the new 9000 series of cases, and in this lineup is just the 9000 Airflow. Obviously we can't forget the D because this thing is massive, and it is meant to replace the 1000D, which was the largest case in Corsair's lineup. There are a lot of similarities here as this case shares essentially the same tooling as the 1000D, but we do get some cool new features with this one, mostly with the implementation of IQ Link. The naming of their cases makes a little more sense now, as the smallest number in their lineup would be the smallest number and the largest case in their lineup would be the largest number. We do also get a new mesh front and top panel. Those are a completely new design. There's also some cool new features like an illuminated case IO, a new white color option, and what Corsair is calling the infinirail system for easier fan and radiator mounting. If you're looking to build the ultimate PC with a perfect mix of aesthetics and performance, Corsair's new 3500X has your PC components covered. Whether you're using a mini EATX or EATX motherboard, the 3500X offers flexible motherboard support and also support for reverse connection motherboards like Asus BTF and MSI Project Zero motherboards, so you can hide those cables and keep your build looking nice and clean. We also have integrated cable management on the backside of the case to route our cables neatly and to keep the backside just as clean as the front. And with absolutely zero compromise to performance, this case supports up to 10 120mm fans, ensuring your system will stay cool even during the most intense gaming sessions. Fit even the biggest graphics cards and coolers on the market with still room to spare, as the 3500X has an extremely thoughtful layout for even the largest components out there. If you're interested in learning more about the 3500X from Corsair, you can check it out in the description below. So jumping right into packaging, for a case of this size, the box it comes in is absolutely massive. It weighs 77 pounds and measures 813mm in length, 508 wide, and 813mm tall. But other than the sheer size, there's really nothing to note here. The branding and even the box itself is exactly what you'd get with basically any other Corsair case on the market. We have the chassis in the middle here and two boxes on either side of it. These two boxes are here likely to protect the case from damage during shipping and also contain our glass side and back panels. We're just going to get these removed and put them to the side for now. And with those out of the box, we can finally get to the case. And here I've kind of tilted the box on its side and I'm sliding the case out like this because unfortunately I'm not Henry Cavill and I'm not even going to try to lift this up the right way. The case does come in a nice dust bag, which is a good touch and honestly expected because the case isn't the only thing that's massive about this. You're not just going to have to clear some space on your desk, you're also going to have to clear some space in your bank account because the pricing for the black option like we have here is a whopping $499. And the white color option is also $499. Starting with one of the coolest features about this case is the illuminated front IO, which is now an integrated USB Type-C hub, which essentially just consolidates all of your connections to a single USB-C connection straight to the motherboard. With this, we have our power and reset buttons, 4 USB 3.2 Type-A ports, 2 USB 3.2 Type-C ports, and we do get a headphone and microphone jack here as well. All addressable through IQ Link, which really adds that premium touch to this case. We do also get an illuminated Corsair logo here on the front panel that is also controlled with IQ Link through an included hub in the back. In the first box, we have our tempered glass side panel, which is extremely heavy. This does have a screw taped to the glass, and this screw is meant to secure the panel to the case. To do this, you just screw it into the top hinge here, and it's secured. As for the second box, we have our back panel, which is an extremely hefty chunk of metal, and another screw here, and again, this panel is super magnetized. Moving on to the largest noticeable difference between this case and the 1000D, these new vented front and top panels. We do have an all-new design here with these panels featuring a kind of Y-shaped Destiny logo stamped out, likely to help with airflow, as opposed to the glass front and top panels that originally came on the 1000D. As for the rear, we do see some cohesion in that ventilation design here on the expansion slots, as well as some of that older hexagonal ventilation design brought over from the 1000D. And honestly, I would have liked to see that new ventilation design throughout the entire case. However, with it being on the rear, it's not very noticeable. Taking the front panel off is super easy. It just comes off with a little bit of force, revealing a gigantic dust filter with that illuminated Corsair logo here in the center. To remove the dust filter, it just slides right out from the side, and it does stay in place pretty well thanks to these 4 magnets here in the center, which is a super nice touch from Corsair to keep it from rattling around during use. At the top here, we have another dust filter that just slides right out for easy maintenance, and again, it is magnetized to stay in place. There's another dust filter on the back panel that's just just magnetized to the panel itself, and we do have 2 additional dust filters here at the bottom. They are angled kind of strangely, and I think I would have preferred a single filter rather than these 2 smaller ones, as they're not magnetized like the other filters and basically only stay in place with hopes and prayers. As for now, I am going to be taking the side and back panels off so I can move the case a little bit easier for this review. As for the back side of the case, we do have some tape keeping these doors in place, probably to keep them from clacking around during shipping. These doors do open right up on their own hinges, and they are also held in place with magnets. And behind them, we'll find the mounting locations for up to 8 2.5-inch hard drives. 6 of these spots are occupied with mounts, and 2 left open for future expansion. And if that's not enough storage, we also find access to our 5 3.5-inch hard drive bays back here as well. And as always, hidden inside of one of the slots here, we've got a nice little plastic box with all of our extra screws and zip ties. To remove the hard drive cage, there's just 2 screws that we need to remove at the back here, and then it just slides right out. These doors are also completely removable by opening them slightly and just lifting them up with a little bit of force. As for the overall case size and construction, the case itself weighs 66 pounds empty, and it measures 698 millimeters in length, 307 wide, and 698 millimeters in height. The general layout here is very familiar. It's essentially the same as the original 1000D that this case replaces, and as you can see, there is a ridiculous amount of space in here. We do also have another accessory box here to the right, which includes a microfiber cloth, retention screws, some additional plastic clips for fan and radiator mounting, sleeved IQ link cables, and a vertical GPU bracket. As for the motherboard tray, it's probably the most accommodating tray I've ever come across. The first thing that we see here are these cutouts along the side and bottom here, and that's because this of course also supports reverse connection motherboards. And there's no motherboard that I can think of that won't work in this case. So here we're test fitting it with an ATX size Z790 formula, which honestly looks a little bit small in here. So I'm also testing the EATX sized X870E Godlike from MSI, and I do want to note that if you're putting an EATX board in this case, you will have to remove the SSI CEB standoffs marked with C on the motherboard tray. And this case does not include a standoff removal tool, which is a pretty surprising oversight from Corsair. However, our EATX board doesn't even begin to overlap with the first row of cable grommets on the side here. And there are 16 of these cable cutouts in total, making the entire motherboard tray basically a giant cable cutout. And the grommets inside of these cutouts are kind of interesting. Corsair is calling these double shot, which essentially means they're reinforced from both the front and back. And after some rigorous testing, I do find that they stay seated better than any I've tested before. But I do have a separate issue with them, and it's the color. They're like a two-tone black on the inside and gray on the outside, and I would have liked to see these just in black, but it's really not that big of a deal. As for additional cable management, there are plenty of cable tie-down points and perforations in the case that should make managing cables pretty straightforward, along with some additional integrated cable routing channels on the right side here as well. As for GPU accommodation, there's basically no limitation on how large of a graphics card you can fit in here. Here I've gone with a 4090 Strix from ASUS, which is my largest card on hand, and as you can see, there's still a ton of space in here. There's also an included GPU standoff here to the right. This is completely removable and it just slides up and down, and it is secured with a screw in the back. As for the power supply shroud, we do see some standoffs here for an ITX motherboard, and if you're planning on building a dual system into this case, there is a cover here secured with a few screws, and removing this reveals some openings for an ITX system. Here we have support for up to an SFXL power supply to the left, along with I/O access for an ITX board and 2 expansion slots here for a graphics card in that secondary system. We also have the power and reset buttons for an ITX system conveniently placed here as well. However, the connectors for this are the older style individual connections, and I would have liked to see a unified connector here as well. However, to remove the power supply shroud, there's only 1 screw in the rear and 1 screw in the back, and this just slides right out. The largest power supply I have on hand is this EVGA 1200 watt P2, which is roughly 6 inches long or 200 millimeters, and it fits with enough room to still access our connectors and route our cables safely. So that should be more than enough room for most power supplies out there. Moving on to one of the biggest changes on the interior side of this case from the 1000D are these new sliding fan and radiator brackets. To access these, there's just a thumb screw and retention plate that needs to be undone, and you'll have access to slide these out. And although we did have a sliding drawer-like mounting system with the 1000D, Corsair is calling this the infinirail system. And the smaller attachments slide around on this rail, allowing you to adjust them as needed to accommodate for essentially any sized fan or radiator you want to put in here. There is a little bit of play with these, but overall the construction feels pretty solid. And while we're on the topic of fan and radiator accommodation, at the top you can fit up to 2 480mm radiators and up to 8 120mm fans in a basic configuration. And it's the same for the front side infinirail, up to 2 480mm radiators and up to 8 120mm fans. Just above the motherboard tray, we have additional fan and radiator mounting for up to a 360mm radiator. However, if you have the top infinirail bracket occupied with 2 radiators and fans, you can't really utilize this bracket. However, if you're considering an AIO cooler for this case instead of a custom cooling solution, this would be a good location to mount an AIO. As for the rear of the case, we can fit up to 2 120mm fans and a 240mm radiator. And with that being said, I do think this case is a step in the right direction for Corsair, prioritizing airflow and performance, but I would have also liked to see a tempered glass version of this case, maybe calling it the 9000X or something like that, or maybe even selling a glass upgrade option for this like they do with the 6500D. But I do appreciate the fact that we get this in 2 colors for the same price, and I also think the price may come down with sales in the future, but the $500 price tag isn't that bad considering everything we're getting here. Something also kind of interesting with this case is you get a 2-year warranty from Corsair, which in the US is kind of abnormal. We usually get a 1-year warranty, so it's cool to see Corsair standing by this one. I like the new illuminated IO and the fact that it's consolidated with a single USB Type-C connection. However, I would have liked to see a unified connector for the EATX system as well, but overall, I really don't have anything bad to say about this one. So if you're considering an enormous case for your next PC build, I think this one is a top contender in the super tower category right now. And I am curious to see what you guys think of the 9000 series of cases, and if there's any changes or improvements you would have wanted to see with this one. I'll be pretty active in the comments, so I am curious to see what you guys think. And as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.